President Trump has indicated he'll impose a deadline for Vladimir Putin to agree to a ceasefire in Ukraine. Mr. Trump said that if the Russian leader was still stringing him along in 2 weeks, he would respond differently. Mr. Trump has so far stopped short of imposing sanctions, but has warned that his stance could change. Well, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said he'd spoken to his American counterpart, the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, about concrete proposals to be presented at a new round of direct talks with Ukraine next week in Istanbul. On Wednesday, Germany and Ukraine said that they would work together to build long-range missiles. Appearing alongside Volodymyr Zelensky in Berlin, the new German Chancellor Friedrich Merz promised what he called a new form of military-industrial cooperation. So, will a deadline make an impact in bringing an end to the conflict? I put that question to Vitaly Shevchenko, BBC Monitoring's Russia editor and the host of Ukrainecast.
If it's a deadline, it's not particularly a hard deadline, because they've said it before. Donald Trump's own Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, on the 4th of April, I think, he said, we'll find out soon enough, in a matter of weeks, whether Russia is serious about peace. And it looks like they still don't know, almost 8 weeks later. And there's nothing in Russia's actions or rhetoric that would suggest that they are even considering stopping attacks on Ukraine. In fact, yesterday, the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, he voiced another demand for Ukraine to meet. He said Russia wants Ukraine to amend its legislation. So this list of demands, it's growing. Russia's still saying that it intends to capture more territory in Ukraine, at least the 4 regions that it partly controls. It still wants to discuss what it calls the root causes of the crisis. So nothing's changed there. And also, let's not forget, Martin, that on the 12th of May, Russia was supposed to cease fire, according to demands voiced by Ukraine's allies from the coalition of the willing. So all these deadlines, they came and went and nothing happened. So hardly an incentive for Vladimir Putin to cease fire.
So how much more likely is it that Volodymyr Zelensky will decide to lean more on his European allies in the United States?
Well, lean is what he can try to do. He's been gently and politely calling on the United States to exert more pressure on Russia. And following last weekend's devastating aerial attacks on Ukraine, record-breaking attacks, he said it's the silence of America and other countries that enables those attacks. And that statement triggered an outburst from Donald Trump, who said, I don't like anything that's coming out of Volodymyr Zelensky's mouth. That's a quote. So the Ukrainian president has been trying to get Ukraine's allies to take some action, but so far nothing they've taken has been able to stop the Russians. In fact, this morning I've been looking at reports of more people killed in Ukraine in aerial attacks. One 68-year-old man in Sumy and 5 glide bombs dropped in a village in Zaporizhzhia region. So those attacks, they just continue.
BBC Monitoring's Russia editor Vitaly Shevchenko speaking to us earlier. Well, in the last few minutes, a few lines have dropped from the Kremlin's morning press briefing, and Dmitry Peskov has been speaking again about this matter. He says there are currently no plans for Vladimir Putin to speak to Donald Trump. He said, we propose talks with Ukraine in Istanbul on the 2nd of June, and so far there's been no answer from Kiev. And he went on to say the main thing right now is to continue the direct Russia-Ukraine talks. Of course, some of those happened in Istanbul and very little emerged from them, but there was that prisoner exchange, of course.